There is a common misconception about listening. According to research, 96% of people think that they're good listeners. Yet studies show that people retain only about half of what others have to say. This means that many people who think they're great listeners are still missing 50% of key information. In school, 50% is a failing grade. In the business world, 50% is a missed opportunity. If you want to be an effective listener, you need to strive for 100%. Now that you know that it's important to be an active and engaged listener, let's talk about how to do that. We typically think of listening as the activity where we hear what someone is saying and process that information. But it's not uncommon for these habits to come in the way of effective listening. Things like jumping to conclusions about what someone else is trying to say before they have actually finished their thoughts, making assumptions about why someone feels or thinks a certain way without asking them questions first, interrupting to share your own experience rather than really listening to someone else's, maybe hearing but not really understanding or clarifying information, or thinking about what you're going to respond instead of focusing on what is being said, or just zoning out because you don't find the conversation relevant or interesting. These habits can affect your ability to understand others. How many times in your life has this happened to you? Maybe it was a customer representative who didn't understand your issue, or a coworker who interrupted you in a meeting and took the conversation in a different direction. Or maybe your partner missed what you wanted to say because they were distracted by their phone. I bet this sounds familiar to many of you. When people don't feel heard, it can lead to feelings of frustration, anger, or even confusion. It's important to be aware of our own listening habits so we can avoid unintentionally causing these negative emotions in others. And when we don't listen well, we miss important clues, or we might make incorrect assumptions and end up addressing problems that don't even exist. If you want to improve your communication and your listening skills, the first step is to determine which habits prevent you from accurately understanding your customers. You can take small actions every day that will help you improve how well you listen. Your life and those around you will reap the benefits as well. The tips I'm about to share with you will help you pay careful attention to what someone else is saying so that you truly understand them before you respond or process your own thoughts. So the first one is to make sure that someone has finished speaking before responding. This tip sounds pretty straightforward, but it takes practice. So don't jump in too soon without making sure that the customer has said all that they need to say about the topic. It's tempting to cut them off early by interjecting with your own thoughts or solutions, but you'll only create confusion and frustration if you don't let them finish. It's also important not to make the customer feel uncomfortable by rushing them or showing impatience. When it comes to providing outstanding service, nothing is more important than really hearing what the customer has to say. And this helps improve satisfaction and gives them an incentive to come back again. Think about how you can apply this skill in your everyday interactions. When you're speaking with customers, you want them to feel like their time is valuable and that you're really taking their comments seriously by really listening to what they're saying rather than interrupting. So let's get back to today's exercise. When you are chatting with your customers, really focus on what they're saying. Listen carefully, then ask questions if needed. But before jumping in with advice or sharing your own experiences, remember how we talked about internal distractions in the earlier video? This concept of awareness applies to this exercise as well. So being aware of your behavior is an important first step when improving your listening skills. And then the next time you're talking with a customer or your colleague or anybody else, challenge yourself with these 3 questions. The first one is, do I rush to judgment when listening to others? Second is, do I make assumptions without asking questions first? And the third one is, am I thinking about what I'm going to say next instead of focusing on what the other person is saying? So the next time you interact with someone, take note of your thoughts and whether they're positive or negative. If they're judgmental, try to remove yourself from the situation mentally by imagining what things could look like from their perspective instead. And by focusing on these questions, you'll be able to fully understand what someone is saying without assuming or interrupting. You'll also learn how to truly listen instead of planning your response in your head before the person has finished their thoughts. This is one of the most important habits to improve. if you really want your customers to feel like you actually care about them and that you take them seriously. And now it's time to put these things into practice. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. And make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know how it's going for you in the comments below. See you later.